Question 1. What ancient legal manuscript, written in 1217, is considered a foundational document of English law, second only to the Magna Carta? A. The Book of Winchester. B. The Charter of the Forest. C. The Domesday Book. D. The Laws of Hywel-Dda. Answer. B. The Charter of the Forest. The Charter of the Forest, written in 1217, complemented the Magna Carta by reasserting the rights of access to the royal forest for free men. Question 2. Who was the British monarch during the signing of the Treaty of Union in 1707? A. Queen Anne. B. King James II. C. Queen Elizabeth I. D. King George I. Answer. A. Queen Anne. Queen Anne was the British monarch when the Treaty of Union was signed in 1707, uniting England and Scotland under a single British monarchy. Question 3. What was the primary export of Britain during the 18th century that drove the Industrial Revolution? A. Wool. B. Cotton textiles. C. Coal. D. Steel. Answer. B. Cotton textiles. Cotton textiles were the primary export of Britain during the 18th century that significantly drove the Industrial Revolution. Question 4. Name the 2 English scientists who independently developed the theory of evolution by natural selection in the 19th century. A. Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein. B. Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace. C. Michael Faraday and James Clerk Maxwell. D. Stephen Hawking and Roger Penrose. Answer. B. Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace. Both scientists independently developed the theory of evolution by natural selection. Question 5. What significant political movement in the late 19th and early 20th century campaigned for the moral reform of British society? A. The Chartist movement. B. The temperance movement. C. The suffragette movement. D. The Labour movement. Answer. B. The temperance movement. The temperance movement was significant in the late 19th and early 20th century for campaigning against alcohol consumption, aiming for moral reform of British society. Question 6. Which Act of Parliament, passed in 1534, marked the final act of the English Reformation? A. The Act of Supremacy. B. The Act of Settlement. C. The Act of Union. D. The Navigations Acts. Answer. A. The Act of Supremacy. The Act of Supremacy in 1534 declared King Henry VIII the supreme head of the Church of England, marking the final act of the English Reformation. Question 7. What year was the Battle of Bosworth, and why is it significant in English history? A. 1485. B. 1066. C. 1215. D. 1642. Answer. A. 1485. The Battle of Bosworth, fought in 1485, is significant because it ended the Wars of the Roses, led to the rise of the Tudor dynasty, and marked the end of the Middle Ages in England. Question 8. Name the British Prime Minister who served during the Balfour Declaration of 1917. A. Winston Churchill. B. David Lloyd George. C. Clement Attlee. D. Neville Chamberlain. Answer: B. David Lloyd George. David Lloyd George was the British Prime Minister during the issuance of the Balfour Declaration in 1917. Question 9. Who was the architect behind St. Paul's Cathedral, reconstructed after the Great Fire of London? A. Christopher Wren. B. Inigo Jones. C. John Nash. D. Nicholas Hawksmoor. Answer: A. Christopher Wren. Sir Christopher Wren was the architect responsible for the reconstruction of St. Paul's Cathedral after the Great Fire of London in 1666. Question 10. In what year did the Great Fire of London take place, and what were the significant consequences? A. 1666. B. 1642. C. 1601. D. 1555. Answer: A. 1666. The Great Fire of London took place in 1666, leading to the extensive rebuilding of the city, including many of its iconic structures. Question 11. What groundbreaking social reform did the Beveridge Report of 1942 lead to? A. The establishment of the welfare state. B. The abolition of the Corn Laws. C. Women's suffrage. D. The end of child labour. Answer: A. The establishment of the welfare state. The Beveridge Report of 1942 led to the establishment of the welfare state in Britain, including the creation of the National Health Service. Question 12. During which war did the charge of the Light Brigade occur, and what was the outcome? A. The Napoleonic Wars. B. The Crimean War. C. World War I. D. World War II. Answer: B. The Crimean War. The charge of the Light Brigade occurred during the Crimean War, and it is infamous for its high casualties due to miscommunication. Question 13. Who were the participants in the Glencoe Massacre of 1692, and what caused it? A. The Macdonalds and the Campbells. B. The English and the Scots. C. The Protestants and the Catholics. D. The Royalists and the Parliamentarians. Answer: A. The Macdonalds and the Campbells. The Glencoe Massacre involved the Macdonalds and the Campbells, primarily due to allegations of allegiance to James II after his deposition. Question 14. Which British philosopher and statesman is credited with developing the scientific method during the Renaissance? A. John Locke. B. Thomas Hobbes. C. Francis Bacon. D. Bertrand Russell. Answer: C. Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon is credited with developing the scientific method, significantly influencing the empirical research approach during the Renaissance. Question 15. What is the significance of the Statute of Puddlen in 1284? A. It established English rule over Wales. B. It unified England and Scotland. C. It abolished the feudal system in England. D. It codified the laws of England. Answer A. It established English rule over Wales. The Statute of Rhuddlan in 1284 established English rule over Wales, integrating the Welsh legal system into the English framework. Question 16. Name the act that officially abolished the British slave trade in 1807. A. The Slavery Abolition Act. B. The Slave Trade Act. C. The Emancipation Proclamation. D. The Freedom Act. Answer B. The Slave Trade Act. The Slave Trade Act of 1807 officially abolished the British slave trade, making it illegal to engage in the trade of slaves throughout the British Empire. Question 17. Who was the first woman to be elected to the British Parliament, and in what year did this occur? A. Margaret Thatcher in 1979. B. Nancy Astor in 1919. C. Barbara Castle in 1945. D. Theresa May in 1997. Answer B. Nancy Astor in 1919. Nancy Astor was the first woman to be elected to the British Parliament, taking her seat in 1919. Question 18. What led to the formation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in 1921? A. The Act of Union 1800. B. The Anglo-Irish Treaty. C. The Easter Rising. D. The Royal Declaration. Answer B. The Anglo-Irish Treaty. The formation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in 1921 was largely due to the signing of the Anglo-Irish Treaty, which ended the Irish War of Independence. Question 19. Name the treaty that ended the American Revolutionary War and recognized American independence. A. The Treaty of Paris 1783. B. The Treaty of Versailles. C. The Treaty of London. D. The Treaty of Westminster. Answer A. The Treaty of Paris 1783. The Treaty of Paris in 1783 ended the American Revolutionary War and recognized American independence from Britain. Question 20. What major event caused Britain to lose its American colonies? A. The Boston Tea Party. B. The Declaration of Independence. C. The American Revolutionary War. D. The Battle of Bunker Hill. Answer C. The American Revolutionary War. The American Revolutionary War was the major event that led to Britain losing its American colonies. Question 21. Which British explorer was the first to circumnavigate Australia and claim it for Britain? A. James Cook. B. Francis Drake. C. William Dampier. D. Matthew Flinders. Answer A. James Cook. Captain James Cook was the first British explorer to circumnavigate Australia and claim it for Britain during his voyage in 1770. Question 22. Who was responsible for establishing the Church of Scotland in 1560? A. John Knox. B. Mary Queen of Scots. C. James VI. D. Elizabeth I. Answer: A. John Knox. John Knox was responsible for establishing the Church of Scotland in 1560 following his return from exile and the spread of Protestantism. Question 23. What year did the English Civil War begin, and who were the opposing factions? A. 1642, Royalists vs. Parliamentarians. B. 1625, Monarchists vs. Democrats. C. 1651, Cavaliers vs. Roundheads. D. 1639, Anglicans vs. Puritans. Answer: A. 1642, Royalists vs. Parliamentarians. The English Civil War began in 1642, with the opposing factions being the Royalists, who supported King Charles I, and the Parliamentarians, who supported the parliamentary authority. Question 24. What major political and religious conflict led to the Gunpowder Plot of 1605? A. The Reformation. B. The Spanish Armada. C. The Restoration. D. Catholic marginalization under Protestant rule. Answer: D. Catholic marginalization under Protestant rule. The Gunpowder Plot of 1605 was driven by Catholic marginalization under Protestant rule, seeking to end Protestant dominance by assassinating King James I. Question 25. Who was the longest-serving British Prime Minister of the 20th century? A. Winston Churchill. B. Margaret Thatcher. C. Harold Wilson. D. Tony Blair. Answer: B. Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher was the longest-serving British Prime Minister of the 20th century, holding office from 1979 to 1990. Question 26. What major social and economic changes resulted from the Black Death in 14th century England? A. The rise of the merchant class. B. The decline of feudalism and serfdom. C. Increased trade with Europe. D. The establishment of parliamentary democracy. Answer: B. The decline of feudalism and serfdom. The Black Death in 14th century England led to significant social and economic changes, including the decline of feudalism and serfdom due to a drastic reduction in the population. Question 27. Name the influential British economist whose ideas shaped modern macroeconomic policies during the Great Depression. A. Adam Smith. B. David Ricardo. C. John Maynard Keynes. D. Alfred Marshall. Answer: C. John Maynard Keynes. John Maynard Keynes was the influential British economist whose ideas during the Great Depression reshaped modern macroeconomic policies, particularly through his advocacy for increased government expenditures to counteract economic downturns. Question 28. What historic event is marked by the Peterloo Massacre of 1819? A. The violent suppression of a peaceful pro-democracy rally in Manchester. B. A battle between royal forces and rebels in London. C. The last stand of the Jacobite rebellion. D. The enforcement of the Corn Laws. Answer A. The violent suppression of a peaceful pro-democracy rally in Manchester. The Peterloo Massacre of 1819 is marked by the violent suppression of a peaceful rally campaigning for parliamentary reform. Question 29. In which year was the Battle of Agincourt fought, and what was its significance? A. 1415, a major English victory in the 100 Years' War. B. 1420, the beginning of English territorial expansion in France. C. 1453, the end of the 100 Years' War. D. 1405, the start of hostilities between England and France. Answer A. 1415, a major English victory in the 100 Years' War. The Battle of Agincourt, fought in 1415, was significant for its major English victory against a numerically superior French army, impacting the course of the war. Question 30. Who was the first British monarch of the House of Hanover? A. George I. B. George II. C. George III. D. William IV. Answer A. George I. George I was the first British monarch of the House of Hanover, ascending to the throne in 1714 after the death of Queen Anne. Question 31. What critical role did the British play in the development of computer science during World War II? A. Inventing the first programmable computer. B. Breaking the Enigma code. C. Developing radar technology. D. All of the above. Answer D. All of the above. During World War II, British efforts included breaking the Enigma code and pioneering developments in computer science and radar technology. Question 32. What is the principle behind the Clarendon Code of the 1660s? A. To define the liberties of the subject. B. To restrict the religious freedoms of non-Anglicans. C. To expand trade with the American colonies. D. To establish the supremacy of the monarchy. Answer B. To restrict the religious freedoms of non-Anglicans. The Clarendon Code was a series of laws intended to restrict the religious freedoms of non-Anglicans in England during the 1660s. Question 33. How did the Acts of Uniformity affect religious practice in England? A. They enforced the use of the Book of Common Prayer in services. B. They banned the Catholic Mass. C. They introduced religious tolerance. D. They separated church from state. Answer A. They enforced the use of the Book of Common Prayer in services. The Acts of Uniformity affected religious practice by mandating the use of the Book of Common Prayer in all English church services. Question 34. What major legal reform did the Married Women's Property Act of 1882 achieve? A. It allowed women to inherit property. B. It granted women the right to own property independent of their husbands. C. It legalized divorce. D. It recognized women's right to vote. Answer B. It granted women the right to own property independent of their husbands. The Married Women's Property Act of 1882 was a significant legal reform that allowed married women to own and control property in their own right. Question 35. Who was the last British monarch to claim divine right, and what was the consequence? A. James I. B. Charles I. C. George III. D. Elizabeth I. Answer B. Charles I. Charles I was the last British monarch to claim divine right, which contributed to the tensions that led to the English Civil War and his eventual execution. Question 36. What was the significance of the Corn Laws in the 19th century? A. They imposed high tariffs on imported grain. B. They deregulated the grain market. C. They encouraged the import of corn. D. They abolished serfdom. Answer A. They imposed high tariffs on imported grain. The Corn Laws were significant for imposing high tariffs on imported grain, leading to widespread debate and protests about food prices and landowners' profits. Question 37. What was the purpose of the Royal Proclamation of 1763 by King George III? A. To abolish the slave trade. B. To establish an administrative structure for newly acquired territory in North America. C. To declare war on France. D. To reform the tax system. Answer B. To establish an administrative structure for newly acquired territory in North America. The Royal Proclamation of 1763 aimed to organize Britain's new North American empire and to stabilize relations with native North Americans through regulation of trade, settlement, and land purchases on the western frontier. Question 38. Which British scientist is credited with the discovery of electromagnetic induction? A. Isaac Newton. B. Michael Faraday. C. Charles Darwin. D. James Clerk Maxwell. Answer B. Michael Faraday. Michael Faraday is credited with the discovery of electromagnetic induction, a fundamental principle in physics that explains how electric currents and magnetic fields interact. Question 39. In which conflict was the Victoria Cross first awarded? A. The Crimean War. B. World War I. C. The Boer War. D. The Napoleonic Wars. Answer A. The Crimean War. The Victoria Cross, the highest military decoration awarded for valour in the face of the enemy to members of the armed forces of various Commonwealth countries, and previously the British Empire, was first awarded during the Crimean War. Question 40. Name the ship that famously carried the Pilgrim Fathers to North America in 1620. A. The Mayflower. B. The Santa Maria. C. The HMS Beagle. D. The Golden Hind. Answer A. The Mayflower. The Mayflower is the famous ship that carried the Pilgrim Fathers to North America in 1620, where they established the second English settlement in what is now the United States of America. Question 41. What was the primary reason for the construction of Offa's Dyke? A. To demarcate the border between England and Wales. B. To protect against Viking invasions. C. To control flooding. D. To serve as a trade barrier. Answer. A. To demarcate the border between England and Wales. Offa's Dyke was constructed in the 8th century and served primarily to demarcate the border and as a defensive structure between the Anglo-Saxon kingdom of Mercia and the Welsh kingdoms. Question 42. Who was the British leader during the signing of the Anglo-Irish Treaty in 1921? A. Winston Churchill. B. David Lloyd George. C. Neville Chamberlain. D. Harold Macmillan. Answer. B. David Lloyd George. David Lloyd George was the British leader who oversaw the signing of the Anglo-Irish Treaty in 1921, which established the Irish Free State and ended the Irish War of Independence. Question 43. What were the main causes of the Jacobite risings in the 18th century? A. Economic reforms. B. Religious disputes. C. Attempts to restore the Stuart monarchy. D. Parliamentary conflicts. Answer. C. Attempts to restore the Stuart monarchy. The main causes of the Jacobite risings were attempts by the Jacobites to restore the Stuart monarchy to the thrones of England, Scotland, and Ireland. Question 44. Which British monarch established the first English-speaking colony in the New World? A. Queen Elizabeth I. B. King James I. C. King Charles II. D. Queen Victoria. Answer. B. King James I. King James I established the first permanent English-speaking colony in the New World at Jamestown, Virginia in 1607. Question 45. What was the effect of the Enclosure Acts on British agricultural workers? A. They increased job opportunities. B. They led to widespread displacement and poverty. C. They improved living conditions. D. They decreased working hours. Answer. B. They led to widespread displacement and poverty. The Enclosure Acts privatized common land, leading to widespread displacement of agricultural workers and contributing to urban poverty as displaced workers moved to cities looking for work. Question 46. Who founded the Metropolitan Police Service in London and in what year? A. Robert Peel in 1829. B. Winston Churchill in 1940. C. Charles Rowan in 1835. D. Henry Fielding in 1750. Answer. A. Robert Peel in 1829. Sir Robert Peel founded the Metropolitan Police Service in London in 1829, which led to police officers being commonly known as bobbies in his honour. Question 47. What British legal case established the precedent for judicial review? A. Marbury v. Madison. B. Entick v. Carrington. C. Ashby v. White. D. Ridge v. Baldwin. Answer B. Entick v. Carrington. In 1765, the case of Entick v. Carrington established the precedent for judicial review, affirming the principle that executive authority is subject to the rule of law. Question 48. Which event led to the imposition of the Martial Law Act by the British in colonial India? A. The Sepoy Mutiny of 1857. B. The Jallianwala Bagh Massacre of 1919. C. The Salt March of 1930. D. The Partition of 1947. Answer B. The Jallianwala Bagh Massacre of 1919. Following the Jallianwala Bagh Massacre, the British imposed the Martial Law Act in parts of colonial India to suppress the growing unrest and nationalism. Question 49. Name the influential British suffragette who helped women gain the right to vote. A. Virginia Woolf. B. Emmeline Pankhurst. C. Mary Wollstonecraft. D. Florence Nightingale. Answer B. Emmeline Pankhurst. Emmeline Pankhurst was a leading British suffragette whose activism was crucial in helping women gain the right to vote in the UK. Question 50. What treaty ended the War of the Spanish Succession and its implications for Britain? A. The Treaty of Utrecht, 1713. B. The Treaty of Paris, 1763. C. The Treaty of Westphalia, 1648. D. The Treaty of Versailles, 1919. Answer A. The Treaty of Utrecht, 1713. The Treaty of Utrecht in 1713 ended the War of the Spanish Succession and significantly expanded British territories and maritime power. Question 51. What was the primary purpose of the Magna Carta when it was issued in 1215? A. To limit the powers of the king and protect the rights of nobles. B. To establish the Church of England. C. To end the English Civil War. D. To declare independence from France. Answer A. To limit the powers of the king and protect the rights of nobles. The Magna Carta was issued in 1215 primarily to limit the powers of King John and establish legal protections for the nobles. Question 52. Which British monarch faced the Rye House plot, and what was the plot's objective? A. Charles II, to assassinate him and instigate a republican government. B. James I, to replace him with his son. C. Elizabeth I, to restore Catholicism. D. Victoria, to advance industrial rights. Answer A. Charles II, to assassinate him and instigate a republican government. The Rye House plot aimed to assassinate Charles II to prevent the succession of his Catholic brother, James II, and to instigate a republican government. Question 53. In what year did the British Broadcasting Corporation BBC first begin regular television broadcasts? A. 1927, B. 1936, C. 1945, D. 1955. Answer B. 1936. The BBC began regular television broadcasts in 1936, making it one of the first broadcasters in the world to offer a regular scheduled television service. Question 54. Who was the first British astronaut to go into space and in what year? A. Tim Peake in 2015. B. Helen Sharman in 1991. C. Michael Foale in 1992. D. Piers Sellers in 2002. Answer B. Helen Sharman in 1991. Helen Sharman became the first British astronaut to go into space in 1991 when she travelled to the Mir space station. Question 55. What led to the formation of the Commonwealth of Nations, and which British monarch was instrumental in its establishment? A. The decolonisation of the British Empire, King George VI. B. World War II, Queen Elizabeth II. C. The Treaty of Versailles, King Edward VII. D. The end of the British Raj in India, Queen Victoria. Answer A. The decolonisation of the British Empire, King George VI. The formation of the Commonwealth of Nations was influenced by the decolonisation process of the British Empire, and King George VI was instrumental in its establishment. Question 56. What was the focus of the Great Reform Act of 1832? A. To extend the vote to women. B. To reform agricultural laws. C. To restructure the British electoral system. D. To abolish the slave trade. Answer C. To restructure the British electoral system. The Great Reform Act of 1832 focused on restructuring the British electoral system by redistributing seats in the House of Commons and extending the voting rights to the middle class. Question 57. Who were the Luddites, and what was their objective during the Industrial Revolution? A. Inventors who promoted mechanization. B. Workers who destroyed machinery that threatened their jobs. C. Politicians who opposed industrialization. D. Artists who critiqued industrial society. Answer B. Workers who destroyed machinery that threatened their jobs. The Luddites were groups of English workers in the 19th century who destroyed weaving machinery as a form of protest against the Industrial Revolution, which they believed threatened their jobs. Question 58. What event led to the implementation of the Cat and Mouse Act in 1913? A. The violent protests by the suffragettes. B. The rise in industrial strikes. C. The publication of politically sensitive material. D. The outbreak of World War I. Answer A. The violent protests by the suffragettes. The Cat and Mouse Act was implemented in 1913 as a response to hunger strikes by suffragettes who were campaigning for women's voting rights. Question 59. Which conflict is referred to as the Troubles in British history? A. The English Civil War. B. The Jacobite Risings. C. The sectarian conflict in Northern Ireland. D. The War of the Roses. Answer C. The sectarian conflict in Northern Ireland. The Troubles refers to the prolonged sectarian conflict in Northern Ireland that spanned from the late 1960s to 1998, involving nationalist/Republican and unionist/loyalist groups. Question 60. Name the British legislation that first recognised the rights of workers to form trade unions and strike. A. The Trade Union Act of 1871. B. The Labour Rights Act of 1894. C. The Workers' Representation Act of 1906. D. The Employment Protection Act of 1975. Answer A. The Trade Union Act of 1871. This act was the first to legally recognise the rights of workers to form trade unions and strike, marking a significant development in labour law in the United Kingdom.